Hello, it's me, coming live from what has to be the hottest loft in the world right now. It's 28 degrees outside, 452 degrees at least in here. So don't mind me while I just sit here sweating buckets talking to you about Trading 212. Picture the scene. You're one of the most popular trading apps in the UK, growing at an astonishing rate. New users are flooding in, as the likes of GameStop and Tesla mean investing is getting more mainstream media attention than the Janet Jackson halftime show. So what do? You close the front doors. You stop allowing new customers to onboard, citing that due to unprecedented demand, you can't take on any new clients.
Completely, mate.
And then you basically go radio silent, providing no real update on what is happening or when the doors will reopen. So all those new investors are left standing outside wondering when, if ever, they will be allowed in from the cold.
People here have been here for 2 days, some of them. They come from overseas, Belgium, and I think the Netherlands were the first people to check in.
But wait, is that a noise I hear? In the last couple of days, there has been a rumble of activity from Trading 212 that could just signify the end of what is now being called the never-ending waitlist saga of 2021. All right, no one's calling it that, I just made it up. Maybe Waitlist Gate would be better, or The Great Wait. Before we start, I just want to be crystal clear. I do love Trading 212. The app is super easy to use, the fees compared to historic brokers like HL are next to nothing, and I couldn't be happier with them from a day-to-day functionality perspective. I do think it's also important to point out that I do receive free shares from Trading 212 when people sign up using my link that's in the description below. You can't sign up for it now, but yeah, just full disclosure, I have earned money from Trading 212 indirectly in that way.
How to know if you're a sellout?
So I can't just sit here taking the good bits of the service, not discussing the bad. So today, I want to discuss the bad. Whew. I've also reached out to 212 prior to the recording of this video to ask for comment on the points I have raised. 212 kindly replied to my points in a professional manner, so I'll give them the courtesy of discussing their responses to my points so you have both sides of the argument. I think that's fair, especially when you consider that this video today is just me speculating, just me guessing on what's going on. I don't know for sure, and that's mainly down to the fact that 212 haven't been forthcoming in the information that they've provided to people. If a business isn't forthcoming or isn't very transparent or isn't seen to be communicating very well, creators like myself are gonna fill that void and start speculating on what's going on because let's face it, we love the drama. So starting off, speaking about communication, let's start with the communication from Trading 212.
Your service has been temporarily disconnected.
I'm just going to stick my flag right in the ground now and say that I don't think 212 have communicated well enough throughout this 6 months with its customers and with potential new customers. In the correspondence that I had with 212, they stated that the correspondence outward to new customers may not have been sufficient, essentially, but they wanted to focus on existing customers. My issue with that is that existing customers are going to be worried as well about what's going on. Why can't you take on new customers? So by not vocalizing a message, by not providing a clear roadmap of what is going on, and by not providing updates, you can concern your existing customers, myself being one of them. Even if there wasn't an update, just providing regular information online would have sufficed, I would say, and just reassured people about what's going on. There's always going to be people that put on their tinfoil hats and go down the conspiracy route. Yeah. But the fact stands that if individuals are looking to YouTubers like me for information on what's going on, then the communication channels from 212 are not good enough. The only real communication we've had from 212 throughout this whole process is as follows. Due to the unprecedented demand, we have temporarily stopped onboarding new clients. Once we process the existing queue, we will be open for new registrations. We apologise for the caused inconvenience and highly appreciate your understanding. In the context of GameStop, this excuse at first seemed to have legs. At one point, Trading 212 in the UK was being downloaded more than TikTok was. And Trading 212 described the level of demand to me as several orders of magnitude higher. If one magnitude is 10 times higher, then several could be thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of times more demand than they're used to as a business. It stands to reason that a company may not have been able to handle that traffic, so had to shut the front door. But the excuse of having too many people trying to onboard and this backlog that they needed to work through started to wear off when people realised that the queue wasn't going down.
The queue is now a couple of 100 yards long, stretching around the building.
Surely if you were working through the backlog, then the people that registered for the waiting list just after they were shut out would start to, be able to join the platform. I see people on Reddit who joined the waiting list in February who are still not signed up. I have no idea what it takes to scale a system to increase its capacity. Maybe someone with a bit more technical know-how than me could explain in the comments how long they think it should take a business to be able to scale up its operation. For me, if I want more memory in my camera, Amazon arrives in a package, stick the memory card in the side, boom, double the demo. I imagine it's slightly more complicated for them. Maybe they need 2 memory cards, I don't know. dual slot. But to me, it feels like it's taken a long time to scale the service so they could allow new customers in. And to close your front doors at the busiest moment in history for investing is like Amazon turning off its website during Black Friday and the run up to Christmas. Especially when free trade surely experienced an increase in demand of similar order of magnitude. And they didn't miss a beat. So confused, a lot of people just sat here wondering, when will they reopen? And then came the fee. There was the introduction of this new 0.15% fee, which is applied to foreign exchange transactions when you buy something on the platform not listed in your domestic currency. When you compare this fee to the rest of the market, it's actually super cheap. I mean, if you compare to, say, Free Trade, who are 212's closest rival, I would say, they charge around 0.45% for conversion. But it was the timing of the lockdown and everyone being shut out of the service, along with the advert from January where 212, basically said, everything is free, we don't charge.
Introducing zero commission stock trading by Trading 212. Join the revolution with the UK's #1 trading app.
That really kind of rubbed people up the wrong way. And I think a lot of people felt this was the issue. This is why they've shut people out, because they wanted to introduce this fee. This again seems plausible, but then they just didn't open. They missed the new ISA season. I mean, to put that into perspective, that's the time of year that everyone is looking to change ISAs, move services and sign up with a new broker. And 212 just, clocked out of that. Literally missed hunting season. So let's explore some alternative theories in light of the recent noise coming out of 212. All of the information is in the description below, so you can read it and form your own opinions. This is just my interpretation of what is going on, and I'm probably wrong. Right, on that note, let's get on with it, shall we? Starting with the European problem.
British voters said no to remaining in the European Union.
I do not think it would be right for me to try to be the captain.
I don't know if you've heard, but the UK recently left Europe. The biggest political news story of my lifetime, and it felt like for the last 5 or 6 years, it was everywhere. Areas of the finance industry looked to get prepared straight away. Since 2016, around 27 million insurance contracts have been transferred to the EU from the UK. And an estimated 35 new insurance subsidiaries have been set up in the EEA since 2016. This is the insurance industry preparing themselves for a time when the UK is completely separate to the EU. In their response to me, 212 actually said that it's not unprecedented for a broker to close its front doors. They didn't give any examples, but a quick Google search, and to be fair to them, I did find some. Earlier in the year, TPICAP, another European broker, had to stop serving some EU clients as the pandemic had affected its ability to open up an office in preparation for Brexit, meaning it didn't have the passporting requirements in place to serve its existing customers. So Brexit has clearly impacted Trading 212. We know this because they told us. With Brexit now in effect, EU residents will be onboarded with Trading 212 Markets Limited, our new EU broker, regulated by CISEC. They're literally stating in black and white here that as a result of Brexit, they had to set up a new legal entity, and they've registered that in Cyprus with the Cyprus Securities and Exchange Commission. I believe that's right. The first interesting point here is the choice of regulator. Regulators! 212 have chosen to be regulated by Cyprus's version of the FCA. CISEC is a very popular regulator amongst a lot of Forex, binary options and spread betting businesses, but it's come under a lot of flack in the past for not enforcing its own rules, allowing finance businesses to get away with things with only a slap on the wrist, and for generally not regulating to the highest of standards. They're trying to change this reputation, but daytrading.com on their overview of CISEC said the following things. CISEC still has much to do to be as reputable as the FCA in the UK. However, they remain a popular body and continue to grow as a result of low barriers to entry and less stringent regulations. In 212's response, they pointed out that other highly reputable brokers are regulated under CISEC, and again, they are not lying. eToro and Plus 500 are amongst loads of other companies that choose to base their European operations out of Cyprus. I just want to be clear that CISEC aren't some offshore dodgy Panama scheme. They are a credible regulator. I just think that all regulators are not made the same. And, for me personally, I am much happier about the fact that the 212 that I will be engaging with will be regulated by the UK regulators. A quick look at the company registration with CISEC shows the original business, the UK one, the one that we will be using, was registered on the 4th of the 10th, 2019. The new European business was only created or at least registered with CISEC on the 8th of the 4th, 2021. That's 2 months after they shut the front door to new customers. The insurance businesses that I discussed a minute ago, they started preparing for the rule change immediately, so there was no disruption to service. They knew what was coming and they got prepared. I find it hard to believe that 212 wouldn't have seen this coming and started preparing just a little bit earlier. But let's be blunt here. Closing your business for 6 months at a time when more people than ever want to sign up for investing can only be described as a balls up. So maybe 212 wasn't prepared. Maybe they just missed something to do with the European rules, or I don't know, and they needed to set up a new company and migrate everyone over. 212 acknowledged within their reply to me that their formation of the European entity was as a result of Brexit. But they confirmed that in their public communications to everyone, so that message has been consistent, nothing untoward there. They are saying, you know, we set up this entity because of Brexit. They also stated that the formation of the European entity occurred well before the registration date with the regulator. So maybe it is just another case of unfortunate timing, just like the introduction of the fees. Now, while shutting the front door to new customers is highly unusual, having different entities or hubs in different jurisdictions to cope with different regulations is not. It could be quite sensible for a business to do this. But what I want to know is, if it was the European problem, if it was to do with Brexit, then why are UK customers still locked out? Problem 2. Is there an issue with the UK regulator? Trading 212 has traditionally been able to offer its services for free on the invest side because they hope that you would move over to the CFD side. A report online showed that about 78% of people who engaged in CFDs or contracts for difference lost money.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
The UK regulator has taken steps in the past to limit the harm that these types of investments can do to individuals. In 2019, the FCA brought in permanent restrictions on these products. In comparison, coming back to the SISEC point, SISEC were actually one of the first regulators to recognise and regulate binary options as financial instruments. That's another risky financial product that many people would argue is nothing more than gambling. To be clear, 212 do not engage in binary options. And they've dealt with the FCA's rules around CFD since 2008. I honestly think that 212 are moving more towards the invest side of their app than they are the CFD side, but you know, I don't know the inner workings of that business. But traditionally, CFDs are where 212 have made their money. The reason I'm mentioning SISEC's views on binary options and the FCA's crackdown on CFDs is that different regulators look at things in different ways. So rather than splitting the business up to register people in the EU, they may be splitting it up to accommodate for tougher regulations here in the UK. Because let's face it, if I was growing as rapidly as 212, the only reason that I would stop onboarding clients is if someone told me I couldn't. Now that's something could be a technical issue with the way the company's software is built. Or it could be what they're saying about there just being a mass influx of customers and they just didn't have the scalability to sort it out and they needed to upgrade their systems. Or it could be something to do with regulation and compliance. At the end of the day, we just don't know, do we? Both the regulatory points I've discussed are pure speculation. And throughout this saga, 212 have remained consistent in their message that the issues are caused by too many people trying to use the service. I don't think we're ever going to get another answer than that. And it might well be true, but I do think that in a world where people are so distrusting of finance because of GameStop and hedge funds and market manipulation from market makers, it's the job of finance apps to be super transparent and clear, because if you don't, you're just going to lose the trust of people because people are looking for an excuse not to trust finance apps. But for now, Trading 212's UK arm remains registered and authorised by the FCA, and we've seen no warnings from the UK regulator around Trading 212 like we did say with Binance recently. I personally will continue to use Trading 212 as I do at the minute for my ISA because I couldn't be happier with the service. There might be something that 212 are hiding that they don't want to tell us all, that if I knew it, I would run for the hills. But as it stands right now, on face value, all I can go off is the information in front of me and the service is working perfectly for me as I expected it to. I'm sorry to everyone that's been locked out. I think it's a real shame that the communication on 212's part especially has led to people waiting and waiting and waiting, and a lot of people have missed some really good months of investing there. I think if 212 had been a bit clearer and said it's going to take 6 months at least, people could have looked for other options rather than sitting there waiting. And I think that that is the biggest failing in my eyes from 212's part. I don't think that they're evil. I don't think that they're doing things maliciously. I just think that they've not communicated effectively enough with their potential clients. Right, are we done here? Because I am hot. It got so hot I had to take my trousers off halfway through recording. Oh, I can't take it anymore. Oh my God. See, I do have legs.